Hi guys, it's Serena. Thanks for joining me today on my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk about the topic of fun. Playing with your materials and just having fun. The importance of actually just letting yourself go and explore some of your creativeness. It's so important to just take some time and sometimes not worry about having to make a finished piece. If you look at some YouTube videos and you see people, other creative people, working on a painting and wow, you know, I wish I could paint like that. Look at that. Don't think they haven't practiced that at least 10 times before they sat down and did it on camera. And there's a lot of editing after the fact too. So don't be intimidated by that. Don't let that scare you off and make you stop trying to create. What I want to do is go through today some of my fun little playthings that I've been doing and give you an idea of what's been inspiring me and what you might find inspiring too. Now, I'm going to start off with a really kind of horrible, because we all have horrible things that we do. This is really unfinished. It's just I was playing with Katie paper. I wanted to see what the paper was like, and one night, when, you know, the lights weren't great, I just decided to do a little background. I probably saw someone on YouTube doing something similar, and I said, oh, let me just do that. And, you know, I was playing with the light. I was playing with the light and the light reflection in the water. You know, is that perfect? No, it doesn't even look like the perspective is wrong, everything's wrong. But just to give you an idea, just to let you know that, you know, it's okay to make bad art. Don't feel bad that, you know, you've done something. Oh, I wasted that nice piece of paper. You know, somebody took their time to make that beautiful handmade paper. I love the deckled edges, by the way. But don't feel bad that, oh, I'm wasting my paper. This is how you're going to grow and learn and get better. You're not going to get better, you know, you're not going to get better at driving sitting in the driveway. It's not going to work. You have to use your materials. And I've been trying to make an effort, even though I don't have a place to work right now, to paint, to spread out, which I really am looking for. I can't wait till I get my studio up. I try to do little things. I've come up with a little, I forgot what it's called again. It's clipboard. It's basically a clipboard that I put on my lap, and it solved my studio problem for now. It's a good enough size. I can get a piece of paper on it, and I can work on it. So I'm doing that for now. Do something. Get yourself a little desk, get a closet, use your lap, whatever you have to do, but play. So bad art is important. I'm going to show you something else that inspires me. Believe it or not, I use swatch cards to swatch out my paints. These things, they're just pieces of scrap paper that I have, watercolor paper, that I will mix colors on and test them. No, not too yellow. No, too red. No, a little more of this. And I'll keep going until I get the color I want. But I'm left with these practice pages, and once they're filled, they're filled. Like on this one, I played around with some new paints that I got, and these are the I know what these are. These are some of the granulating Schmenka colors. So I just played around with them. I wanted to see what they look like. I wanted to see when I mix them with other colors what happens. So this is fun, and I keep all of these. I mean, there's another one too. Sometimes I take these out and I think, wow, it's a nice spring day. Look at that beautiful color. That reminds me of grass, of spring trees. And it sparks an idea and off you go. So, I mean, I do little sketches here and there. And then once I have some blobs on the thing, like it reminded me of a woman's dress and blouse. I did that. This was a monster. I mean, it turned into a monster. I've got other ones that I love, and this is just also from testing papers. I made a new one of these, so don't feel bad that I ruined my nice swatches there. But I just try different paints. And even I tried some acrylic, some shiny acrylic. That was really nice. That was fun. But just to give you an idea of something you wouldn't even consider as inspirational, keep these, because they might spark an idea. Now here's some other things that I've done. I did this one in January. This is just, I can tell it's not done. I started it, I played with it, again, Katy paper. I wanted to see what it was like. I really like the Katy papers. I love that deckled edge. I love this size, that it's enough for framing if you wanted to frame it or give it to somebody, but even just to play, just to feel those colors, just to see the translucency of the colors. It was fun to play with, and I think I'll go back to this particular one and do some more. Here's another one I did, same paper, Katy paper. I particularly like this one because some of these colors you would see like on poppies. Some of them had some little accidents, you know, like Bob Ross would say, funny little or happy little accidents. It just like worked the way it should. Some colors you would not see in nature. I don't think there's a blue flower that looks like that, but hey, it's fun. I played around with Opera Rose, which is a color that is fun to have, but you really, what are you going to use it for? So this is what I used it for, and I kind of like the way this came out. It reminds me of, although I wasn't trying to plagiarize, I was not trying to copy, but it reminds me of a book by Terry Runyon that I reviewed actually a couple of videos ago, and I really love this book. If you want, I'll link the video in the back. But she has some nice inspirational flower or floral scenes in here that I kind of said that would be fun to do. Let me just go ahead and do that. You know, play around with my paints, and that's what I wound up with. So if you feel like trying something, do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Just try it. Do a little, this thing maybe took me 15 or 20 minutes. And I wouldn't frame it, but you could if you wanted to. Okay, here's some other things that I've done. And I don't think the whole thing is going to fit on the screen at once, but I'm trying different materials, and I made a note of it. This is very important. Date your work. I always say date your work. Sometimes I forget, but write down what you've done. Even if you want to write it on the back, you don't want to ruin this. And in fact, you can use both sides of the paper. I used a watercolor block, so I pulled it off after this was done, and now I can turn it over and I can actually tape down the corners and use the back side. But I was playing with a clear wax resist crayon, Neocolor 2s. You can see the wax resist on the edges of the trees. It's just a different effect. And Conte crayon, which I used on here. Oh, that was a Lyra crayon. That was a giant black Lyra crayon I used on that one. The sepia Conte crayon I used here. You can see that. And then a Derwent drawing pencil, which I'm looking to see where that is, but it's somewhere on here. The point being that you can try many different things on one sheet of paper. You don't need to use a lot of paper, but look at how different these things are. I mean, this is absolutely horrible. It looks like something some teenager did out of the 60s, you know, 1960s. With black lights and all that. But, you know, try things. Try different color combinations. I love this color combination, this juxtaposition. This one as well. And I love this particular color. It's like a sea green in the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. And I want to use this against orange. I love those two combinations. I want to try that again. Here's another one I did. Okay, once again, different things. Okay, so I tried the clear wax resist Neocolor 2. Horrible picture. I don't know what I was thinking. The composition of the carrots just doesn't make it. The background's awful. You know, try things. You know, so don't feel bad. This was interesting. It was kind of looking up at the sky, but what clouds are really that color pink? I wanted to play. I wanted to play with it. Okay, so I tried my black Stabilo All. I wanted to see how that would look. I have a colored brown pencil against the background, and I just played with twigs up against the sky. Here's another one I did. Neocolor 2, Inktense pencil, black Stabilo all. Just playing, just to see what happens when I play. This was another one, Neocolor 2, copper acrylic paint. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, especially on a day like this. It's very cloudy. I don't know if you'll see that. I've got a little copper sun and some highlights on the water. That's all it was. Here's another one. Okay, different techniques. Okay, so I took a section of the watercolor paper and I just did kind of dabs of colors that would go together. Waited for it to dry, and then I took some black craft paint, similar to this kind. It was just a black, craft paint, non-archival, certainly guaranteed to fade over time. Not something I would ever use if I were to sell something. Please, please, please use good quality if you are going to sell something. The exception would be you can certainly make a print out of this. A print is not going to matter as far as the quality. The only difference is, you can see some of that showing through underneath, which I didn't want to do. But it gave me an idea. And if I like this, I can elaborate on it. Here was just something I goofed around with. It was a white Uniball Sino pen. I wanted to see how that would work with those little snowdrop flowers that you see there. I don't know if I can get that close up, if it will focus. Let's see if that focuses. Give it a few moments. But I wanted to see how that would work with the little snowdrops there. And I made a note, the Sino on the watercolor clogged the white pen. So now I know not to use that. But this is what these things are for. They're to learn your materials, learn what you can and can't do. Maybe I'll try some other different material. I wanted to try like an FW white acrylic ink. So maybe that would work better with a brush. I'll try it next time. This is another fun one I did, just kind of to play around. I like the effect of, while I had the tape on here, that I put a border, specific border of darker color around it. I kind of gave it like a little halo there effect, so that when I pulled it off, it wouldn't just fade off into the distance. But this is wall watercolor. I wanted a background wash. Oh, I tried to do a background wash over the flowers, and it terribly blurred the flowers, so that doesn't work. I learned that the hard way, but the fun way. So, play with your stuff and have fun. Here's another one I did. I particularly like the way these layers came out. I love those. It was just a fall type of thing. I wanted to use fall colors. This was straight watercolor, quinacridone burnt sienna on background, edges first. So I did the edges first, and then multiple layers on top. So that gives me an idea of how that works when I kind of do this effect, and I really like that effect. I'll use that in my mixed media for things that I do for fun. This one was another one. I started with this, which I really liked. I saw this on someone's YouTube channel. I cannot remember her name. If I can, I will put it in the somewhere in here. But she used just blobs of extra color that she had. I took stuff that was on my palette. You always have those blotches on your palette that are leftover paint. I just took whatever colors I had and just put them down, let them dry. And then I came back to them another day later or whatever, and drew whatever inspired me. I kind of just like this this black on different colors. It's really nice. And it's a nice idea for a sketchbook. I think it was the topic of the video was how to fill a sketchbook. So I really like that. This one, I played around with the colors first and the blending. I wanted to see how the colors would react with the water, how they would blend, how they would spread out. Again, playing with the materials, learning how they work, learning what you can do, what you can't do, what works and what doesn't. And then it just kind of, they all faded separately. It just didn't look good, so I took a, I don't know what this is. I think this is like a brush pen. I think I took a brush pen and went over the outline in black just to do something different and play around with it. This is one of those things that they tell you to do, just put some blobs on paper, and I took again some extra paint that I had on my palette. I don't want to waste it, I just used it, I just blobbed here and there, and this is what I came up with, you know, a sock, a shooting star flower, pizza, I must have been hungry, pizza, some kind of Batman, whatever, you know, I don't know what they call those, you know, forest scene, a monkey, chickens, but, you know, I don't know, some psychologist would have fun looking at this. Anyway, just fun things to do. I'm not impressed with that. I'm not going to do it again. I didn't have fun doing it. It was just like more tedious than anything else just to get it out of the way. And sometimes you do have that. You have something you start and it's just like, oh, this is awful. It's not going anywhere. I can't salvage it. What am I going to do? You've really got to make a decision at that point. Is your time better spent struggling through it, and maybe you'll come up with some kind of breakthrough where, wow, I'm so glad I did that, because if I didn't, I never would have discovered that. Or are you just wasting your time and you just want to say, okay, I'm cutting that one out forever, it's garbage, that's it, let me invest my time in something else. You got to make that decision. No art is wasted, I think, but sometimes you really are wasting your time. This one, I didn't know what to do with this. I started with a background, I was playing with my Neocolors, and you can see like that texture on, I wanted to use this paper. This is a cold press. I wanted to use this texture and see what I would get with my Neocolors, and that's kind of what I got. Then I went back and looked at it. I kind of turned it around different ways. I wish I would have filmed what this looked like before I put the black lines on, but I kind of looked this way and said, okay, this kind of looks like a stormy cloud, this looks like a wild sea. You know, my daughter thought these were mountains, but it's supposed to be waves, and clouds, you know, stormy clouds. So I filled that in with a pen, and I finished that. I finished it, you know, that was my goal, just to finish this page so I could tear it off and do something new. Now, what I've got another one here, hot pressed. This is all I do. I just take this watercolor paper. I have it. I want to use it. I take it. I put down some tape, and you can see I've already got a layer here. It's not anything. It's just color. And these hopefully will inspire me to continue on. If it wasn't so cold here today, I would bring my watercolors out and continue on with another layer and another layer to kind of show you the process. But maybe I can hold on to this and do some of that later, or do some of it inside, take it out and show you, film what I've done in succession so you can see the progress of it. And then maybe the so satisfying tape peel at the end. But my goal today is just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things you can do to get inspiration and to play. The importance of play is what I really want to impress upon you today. Okay, so it is a different day, however, it's not any warmer. In fact, we had snow this morning, and it is not wanting to give up. At least winter is not wanting to give up. But anyway, I am in the greenhouse hunkered down, and we'll see how long I can last with the cold, because it's still drizzling / sleeting, and you can hear that from time to time on the sound. Unfortunately, the generator's going because it has been cloudy and we are off the grid, so batteries don't last very long when you have 2 and 3 days of snow and clouds, so we have to charge them with the generator. Solar is not everything it's cracked up to be. We might go into that another time. Anyway, I wanted to see if I could continue on this and give you guys a little bit of some maybe entertainment as I try to fill out some of these. Again, it's cold. I don't know how much I'm going to get done, but let's get to it. I do have my trusty swatch card, even though this is a Strathmore and this is Fabriano. I do like Fabriano. It's one of my favorite. It's just one of the best papers that I've found, besides Arches, but I can't. Arches are just too cost prohibitive for me to play with. Since this is the subject of this video and is to play and have fun and explore, that's not for my Arches. I've got to save that for my good work. Okay, so I have my swatch sheet though, which I'll try some things on, and I've got my water, my palette. I still use this little plastic palette, even though I do have a very nice ceramic palette, which I love. It's stuck in the bottom of a drawer, and that's not where it's supposed to be. But I use this all the time. It's lightweight. I can close it up and keep the dirt and everything out. So that's why I use it all the time. It's got a big surface area. I like it. Got my paper towels. I have my water source here with my pipette, which I love using. I love using this pipette to just kind of get some water where it needs to go. My two palettes are my Schmenke palettes. I will show you the colors so everybody can drool. I love seeing palettes, seeing people's palettes and what they choose for color. Okay, so that's one. I've got them divided into two 24 size palettes. And, you know, don't get me started on this empty spot down here, because if I think about it too much, you know what's going to happen. But I hope you can see all the colors. I happen to love browns. Anyway, those are my guides, and let's get going. Okay, so this is dry enough now. What I'm going to do is paint some grasses in the front to give it a little depth. And I want you to see what I did with my palette here. This palette is a mess, but it's a wonderful mess. You see how right here I've got some light pale browns going on, and I added in some saturated yellow ochre. You want to keep some of this stuff separate. Don't sit there and mix and mix and mix till it's all homogeneous in one color. You want to grab some of little bit of everything on your brush sometimes as you're going through, and then move around your palette. Get some more yellow ochre in this section, more of this in that section, more of the greens in that section, and that way it'll give a variation to your painting. you get the idea now of what I mean by playing with your materials and just having fun, just spending some time. You don't have to make anything. You don't have a deadline. You know, there's no pressure. You're not doing a commission. It's just for fun. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you to those of you who have subscribed, and hit the like button. Leave me a comment below and tell me if you'd like to see more of this type of video. Do you want to see more of me actually painting? Hopefully once I get my studio up, I'll have time to do more of that type of video. But, you know, leave me a comment. I like to know what you're thinking. In the meantime, have a happy time painting and drawing, and use those materials.